Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Tamiru Nimsat. Let's have a look at the headlines. Dr. Nandalal informs Parliament of central bank's duties and responsibilities. Ceylon tea increases in value across all elevations. News in detail. A special meeting to appraise members of Parliament on the duties and responsibilities of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka was held in Parliament recently. The session was chaired by Speaker Mahindaya Papewardena and Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, members of the CBSL Governing Board and the Monetary Policy Board. This meeting was held as part of the legal mandate requiring Parliament or a committee to inquire into the Central Bank's activities every 4 months as stipulated in the Central Bank of Sri Lanka Act of 2023. During the meeting, Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe highlighted several key achievements, including reducing inflation to 5% and lowering the policy interest rate. Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe credited the new Central Bank Act and the recently introduced banking regulations as instrumental in achieving considerable economic stability. The Governor also detailed the establishment of a Financial System Monitoring Committee to ensure the stability in banking, non-banking financial institutions, the stock market and the insurance sector. The Sri Lankan tea industry saw an increase in value across all elevations despite a moderate level of production during the first half of the year. According to the biannual tea review released by Forbes and Walker recently, revenue from tea exports for the first quarter of 2024 reached over 110 billion rupees. The second quarter also saw a significant boost in auction prices with an approximate 16% increase, resulting in a sale average of over 1,200 rupees compared to slightly over 1,000 rupees in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. This rise in auction prices has been attributed to lower to moderate tea production during the period under review. Notably, the revenue earnings for the second quarter of 2024 surged to 110.04 billion rupees, a substantial increase from the 99.7 billion rupees recorded in the same quarter last year. However, the report also highlights some challenges, particularly concerning key markets like Russia and Turkey. Russia, the world's largest tea importer, may face constrained demand due to ongoing sanctions. Meanwhile, Turkey, accounting for 5 to 6% of global tea consumption, remains a significant player in the Sri Lankan tea market. The report suggests that consumers are increasingly seeking teas that are ethically sourced, free from harmful chemicals and packaged in environmentally friendly materials. While global demand for black tea is expected to continue rising, the demand for green and organic teas with health benefits is likely to outpace that of black tea in the long term. The Ceylon Chamber of Coconut Industries has raised alarms regarding Sri Lanka's coconut supply, warning that current production levels are insufficient to meet both domestic consumption and increasing export demands. Despite coconuts being cultivated on 1.1 million acres of land and yielding around 3 billion coconuts annually, the sector is facing significant challenges. The newly inaugurated Ceylon Chamber of Coconut Industries raised this alarm at a press conference held in Colombo recently. The first president of the CCCI, Jayantha Samarakun, highlighted the urgent need to enhance productivity, replant unproductive lands, and expand cultivation in suitable areas. He pointed out that Sri Lanka's current yield of 2,750 coconuts per acre lags behind India's more than 6,000 coconuts per acre, emphasizing the importance of improving yield in a country with limited arable land. Despite the presence of 3 major government bodies, the Coconut Development Authority, Coconut Cultivation Board, and Coconut Research Institute, no substantial progress has been made in increasing productivity. To address this issue, the CCCI is seeking funds to implement a geographic information system project to gather critical data for formulating a national plan for the industry. The Chamber also stressed the importance of collaboration between the government and the private sector to support the livelihoods of approximately 800,000 coconut growing families, most of whom own less than 5 acres of land, which accounts for 80% of Sri Lanka's coconut land. CCI's first General Secretary Ranil Disaram cautioned that if these challenges are not addressed, coconut prices could rise to 270 rupees per coconut, further straining the industry and consumers. Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The Veg Voyages Foundation Vegan Travel Asia, in collaboration with Sri Lanka Tourism, are offering a comprehensive plant-based culinary workshop tailored specifically for Sri Lanka. This workshop, which is being conducted in both Sinhala and English, is set to take place on the 6th and 7th of September at Ranbath Organic from 10 am to 12:30 pm. A press conference to make this announcement was held in Colombo earlier this week. Representatives from the Biodiversity Project, Clean Ocean Force Lanka and Earth Lanka Youth Network will be present to support this transformative event. The workshop is open to the public, including chefs, business owners and individuals interested in the plant-based industry. Additionally, there will be closed workshops for schools and universities. Remarkably, the event is free of charge for hospitality industry professionals, providing them with the opportunity to learn about the latest culinary trends and gain practical skills that can significantly advance their careers. In addition to the knowledge and skills gained, participants will receive international certification in sustainability practices, further boosting their professional credentials.
Plant-based industry is growing all around the world, and there are many factors behind it. First, people are getting aware that animal agriculture is the biggest problem for climate change. Second, some people are turning plant-based, or we can say vegan, because of ethical choices, for ethical reasons. And some are turning vegan or plant-based for health reasons. So now we see the plant-based market is growing around 12% every year annually. And also it is estimated that by 2030 it will be $162 billion in industry. So we need to get us up to date and how tourism can benefit out of it.
Public advocacy organization on governance and anti-corruption, Transparency International Sri Lanka, announced that it has received over 580 election regulation violation complaints since the launch of its online platform. Transparency International Executive Director Nadishani Pereira said that this development is a hindrance to hold a free and fair election in the country. Nadishani Pereira said this speaking at a press conference held in Colombo yesterday.
By now, we have received around 580 complaints from around the country. We have deployed observers at district level covering every district, and also 177 electoral observers. And they are submitting their information using our website, www.apesalli.lk, which is also open for citizens to submit their observations about the misuse of public resources. Now, as Transparency International Sri Lanka, why for a long time we have been engaging in election observation, focusing on the misuse of public resources, is because the misuse of public resources anytime, and especially during an election, is a form of corruption, is a form of abuse of power. And when public resources, that are the resources of the people, are used by candidates for their election campaign, then the election, the freeness and the fairness of the election, that is affected. You affect the level playing field and you're abusing your power.
Speaking further at the press conference, TISL Executive Director Nadishani Pereira said that various public assets such as human resources and state properties and vehicles are being used for the benefit of a single candidate.
We have seen the misuse of the human resource. Public officials are public property. Public officials are sustained by the taxes paid by citizens. Public officials' knowledge, their time, that belongs to the people. That is a public resource. But we see public officials, there are two categories. Some have the political rights, but the senior categories, they do not have the political rights. During an election, they cannot use their time, their position to promote a candidate. But we see them doing that. We see them even attending certain rallies, directly, indirectly promoting candidates, and this is a violation. And you are also violating your sacred duty as a public official to serve the country, to take good care of public resources, and you are guilty of a crime. And then we see the misuse of public vehicles, time and time again, a lot. The CTB buses being used to transport supporters, people for rallies from one district to another districts, including helicopters. We see this. We also see public places being used to promote candidates, like grounds or buildings being dedicated for one candidate. These are the resources of the people. It's what belongs to the people being used to promote a candidate.
Stay tuned for stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The All Share Price Index gained 35.92 points to close at 10,801.18, and the S&P SL 20 gained 9.75 points to close at 3,035.64. The turnover was 1.4 billion rupees and over 62 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.